Hello everyone, welcome back. In today's video, you'll see this amazing thing called GitHub Copilot Agent Mode. This is a new feature that recently came out from GitHub. It's an AI agent that works like real programmer. So without further ado, let's get started. So what is GitHub Copilot Agent Mode? GitHub Copilot Agent Mode is the next evolution in AI-assisted coding. Acting as an autonomous peer programmer, it performs multi-step coding tasks at your command, analyzing your codebase, reading relevant files, proposing file edit, and learning terminal command and test. You'll get better idea what I mean by if I show the demo later, so stay tuned. So how does GitHub Copilot Agent exactly works? This is an architecture diagram you can find from the Microsoft website, which I will show as a reference link later, so you can read more in detail about that. But what is happening here is that you can see that in the most left side, you'll see the user. That's always the first to start. User start typing some prompt, but there can be multiple things happening as you can see what is happening on the right side. Copilot will be the primary, delegator that can actually talk to machine, LLM, that stand for large language model, and the workspace and tools. Before, it was like Copilot was able to just talk, understand the context, and then talk to LLM. Now the Copilot has this power to kind of, act upon things like the tools and execute things there, and from that it can gather the context, but it can also manage a lot of different things. So please read more about that in the Microsoft blog reference link I'll share later. So these are some of the helpful links you can find and then do read on your own. Note that these are subject to change, and at the moment GitHub Copilot Agent is just the freebie mode, which means that you have to download something called Visual Studio Code Insider and try out there. But you can see the free GitHub documentation and then GitHub blog and the Microsoft blog, so that can be your place to start at the moment. So how to try out GitHub Copilot Agent mode? First, you have to have GitHub account and associated proper GitHub Copilot license. Second step is, at the moment, you have to download and install Visual Studio Code Insider. Later, it will make the features available through Visual Studio Code, and you can wait till then. It's going to be pretty soon. But at the moment, when you see this video, Visual Studio Code Insider is the way to go. Third, make sure that you have a GitHub Copilot extension enabled and logged in. That should be the same as any other GitHub Copilot when you try first time. And make sure that you have add a folder to the workspace. That's because GitHub Copilot Agent will act and then understand and then execute that is going to be performing inside the folder you choose. Fifth, you have to change the Copilot edit preview. It will be like in the code next to the Copilot chat, and then in the drop down select agent mode. And last step is your start typing prompt and to see the magic happening. So here is the Visual Studio Code Insider page. You have to go to code.visualstudio.com/insiders. Again, later you will make a way into Visual Studio Code, so you can wait till then. But if you just want to try it out right now, this is a way to go. And then based on which operating system you have, it will change. But you can also switch it to different operating system. And once you click, it will start download, or you can just click direct download link and then install. So we are going to jump in the demo pretty soon, but before we do that, let's see the layout for the demo. Before jumping into GitHub Copilot Agent mode itself, which is what we are interested in, it's probably going to be helpful and beneficial for us to see that how it is different from the other mode. So one that actually offered from the very beginning in file editing, and we'll see that, and GitHub Copilot chat, and then GitHub Copilot Edit mode, which is also pretty new, and lastly GitHub Copilot Agent mode. By seeing those things and how they behave by typing the similar prompt, you see what things that Copilot agents offer, and then how can best leverage that. Okay, so here is a Visual Studio Code, which I will show you about the before showing GitHub Copilot Agent mode, which has to be done through Visual Studio Code Insider at the moment. I'm going to show how it was for previous one, right? Normal in file, GitHub Copilot chat, and edit. So I have a 3D project workspace open. I'm going to start with the in file editing. So let's say I'm going to create a website for a travel website, right? I'm going to open index.html file. Probably need more files like JavaScript, CSS, but let's start from there, right? And this is the very first functionality that GitHub Copilot offered from the very beginning, right? So I'm going to just start typing, and then it's going to generate some of the suggestion. I'm going to say this is going to be travel web page to travel portal to Asia countries, right? Because I like to travel to places like Japan and Korea. And then based on that, you provide a context and able to generate a suggestion. And sometimes you're waiting for you to type more, and then really behave different way depending on what kind of things you provide, right? Etc. etc. And then you can provide more context by typing the comment, or by just select or changing the keyword, so it can actually detect what you're trying to do, right? Just by say Asia countries, able to figure it out, right? And then if I do something like form to fill out your favorite country, right, which it can be comment, and then it's able to do that. Okay, know that no matter what, GitHub Copilot is very generative, so the kind of response you get right now might be different than response you will get later, right? So that's that. So this is pretty useful, right? And then if I want to, but think about it this way, I'm not just going to work with one files, and this is going to be always there, right? Most likely what you will see is I want to work with the legacy code and the multiple files or in multiple project. So while this is useful, if you're in a situation like that, it's going to be, you're going to see how about this file and that file, whatever, right? I'm referencing, like say, for example, CSS file, but what do I need to create it and things like that, right? Or maybe JavaScript, right? JavaScript, right? Things like that, right? So even though this is going to be you can figure out from that way, you probably want more, and that's where the GitHub Copilot chat came in later, right? So I'm going to close this one just so it doesn't have any additional context. So let me close out, and then going to start from GitHub Copilot chat. Okay. So GitHub Copilot chat, if you ever used it before, it's just a nice functionality, just to work like ChatGPT, and then you make sure that you log in. Again, that's required for GitHub Copilot as well. And then has license there, and the Copilot chat install, right? Probably need to update that. And the layout did change over time, but for Visual Studio Code, the way you can find that Copilot chat, even though you can find the keyboard shortcut, you can click this GitHub Copilot icon at the top. There's also one at the bottom, but note that the layout can change over time, right? If you try out in things like Visual Studio Code IDE, JetBrains IDE, like IntelliJ or Xcode, which Apple Xcode, which has been released last year, or Eclipse, even the newest edition, you'll find the layout will be different. So just note that those three differences. Now going back, we'll start with GitHub Copilot chat. So here's my Visual Studio Code chat window panel. And then the layout wise, you can see that it start with the GitHub Copilot chat, but you can also change to GitHub Copilot edit modes, as you can see, right? Okay. So I'm going to start with the GitHub Copilot chat. I'm going to ask, I want to create a travel web page, travel portal to Asia country, which is the same kind of prompt I asked before, right? So the difference between this and the previous one is that this can kind of looking from the holistically project perspective and make a suggestion. And one of the newest addition, as you will see, is that it will be able to create a bulk of the files, right? And note that it's generative, so that kind of files that get generated right now might be different than when you try out, right? So I'm going to create a workspace. I'm going to add it to the chat and then go from there, right? It's generating file. You can see that all those files get generated and you can check. Sure, I guess I will just open and then I will not save because a configuration file, not necessary. So as you can see that what's happened and what get generated, this looks pretty cool, right? It seems like generating a lot of files and it seems to generate TypeScript, etc. But what is going to be missing is that when you try to run this, most likely you will be encountering some kind of errors, most likely. The reason is that it's trying to generate the files based on the structure and what is required, but it doesn't really validate. It doesn't act upon as you, in behalf of user, to see if this is really valid or not, right? So it's going to be still useful if you want to try it out, right? And then because it's going to wait for you a lot to act as a developer, to make decision, it's going to be pretty useful way to bootstrap the files, right? But again, if you want to try it out, you have to kind of execute and then things like that. So let's try to do that and then see what do we get. So I'm going to open the terminal and I'm going to get some suggestion from GitHub Copilot chat. How can I see this as a web page? And then start, right? And it's going to give us some suggestion based on the context in the inside the folder, right? So let's see, instant dependency, etc., etc. But what it's not going to do is that it's not going to act in behalf of you to change those files and run the command itself. As you'll see, the difference between GitHub Copilot Edit and Agent versus this is that it's going to wait for you to act, right? Which can be good thing sometimes, right? I mean, most of the time, but it depends, right? So I'm going to run this command and it has a few options there. I can, insert terminal and copy and more options there. I'm going to insert as a, terminal. Let's see, go here, actually terminal, right? Okay, I think I did make a typo here, so make sure to delete that. So it did run fine, something that can be encounter error, and go back to package.json file. I don't know which one is it. It should be one that say travel portal. There you go. And then dev dependency. You can see that even though it was able to grab that, you can see that this is not exactly the same. So let's see, might be referring to this. I'm going to update this, right? So I'm going to save that and then let me run this as a terminal. Okay. And then it doesn't know I have a npm tsc command, so I can probably ask I get a following error. And he's going to give me further suggestion. And then I can go from there. Then I can run this command and then again error, etc., etc. So I'm not going to finish all those things. It seems pretty useful though, but what is not exactly happening is that it's still waiting for you to act, and there are multiple errors that can be generated because it knows the file, but it doesn't know if it actually works or not, right? So that can be useful in some scenario, but we want something maybe more sometime, right? So we'll start to change it to edit mode, okay? We could work from here, but actually let's start to work from there because then maybe you could, wait to show, right? So I'm going to clean up a little bit, and then I'm going to actually let me start from the very beginning, okay? Because it may be a good way to show. I'm going to change it to edit mode, and then I'm going to ask exactly the same thing. I want to create a web page, a web portal, travel portal to Asia countries. So the difference between edit mode versus chat is that even though, remember the GitHub Copilot chat was giving you the button to create a workspace first time. After that, it was not able to kind of, go, and then, you still have to act upon it, right? Now, what's happening is this is actually more like a peer is going to create a file, and not just creating it, it's just going to wait for you to see it and then accept. So I can review and accept and save, and the style, and I can review and accept and save, script, accept and save. I can make the different changes and things like that, right? So by looking at this, looks pretty good, right, as a website. And then so let me see if I can add something like, how can I start this as a Node.js application, right? And it's going to make a further suggestion about this, right? And it's actually going to act in behalf of me to, modify the files and then make the changes. What it's not going to do is that it's not actually going to execute the terminal command. And this is going to be where GitHub Copilot Agent is going to shine, right? So I'm going to go review and then see what gets generated, and package a JSON file. It did update or create one. Server.js, index.html. It doesn't have anything for whatever the reason. I probably need to move the file, so it somehow didn't move. So I'm going to kind of copy that and then paste it here. Okay. And then style.css, existing code. Somehow I don't have one. Actually, do have it. I'm gonna paste there. Okay. Accept and script. Accept, I think. And then etc. Right? And again, see what is happening. Is actually waiting for you to execute this command. So I'm going to do so. Did encounter some error, but you can see what is happening. I can ask, I'm getting this error, so so you can ask further. But again, so it seems pretty good, but what is not happening is that it's still kind of waiting for you to act on certain things, and it doesn't really understand. That's up to you to decide, right? Now we're going to change it to the Visual Studio Code Insider and try the same thing, but as agent mode. As you can see, Visual Studio Code Insider, and then I open the Copilot Edit, and I'm going to select agent mode. I'm going to ask exactly the same thing. I want to create a travel portal to Asia countries, right? So it's going to do the very similar thing as the Copilot Edit, and it's somehow this asking for me to waiting for me. So I'm going to React.js and then Node.js. React.js sounds good. Let's try it there. So it's going to behave very similar to the GitHub Copilot Edit mode, but it's going to actually execute it in the terminal as well. So I'm going to say why, still waiting. Okay. So remember the last time, GitHub Copilot Edit wasn't able to do this, right? Now the agent can now even compile, execute, and things like that, which is actually now understand better about what is happening and come back. If there's any error, it will retry again and then try to fix itself. So it's going to generate some files. Okay. So it looks like it compiled fine, and then it somehow seems to waiting. Let's see. Again, I think this is a preview, so it take a little while to process and things like that, and it now finally came back and it's explaining what happened, and then now it's creating directory and file. Pretty cool, right? And you can see the change while it's still working on it. Okay, so I'm probably gonna keep these things and continue. Okay. Okay, so there was an error, so I probably need to resolve that. But you see what happened here, right? I think that compared to GitHub Copilot Edit mode, which is a kind of latest, even though it's still in preview, this is actually acting behalf of all the things like execution and compile whatever, and then it's based on each step along the way. It was able to kind of act on those things, not just modify the files, right? So again, this is preview, and more things are coming. And then yeah, that's it for this video. Thank you for watching, and then see you next time.